Today we will analyze 10 behaviors that confident people do not adopt. True self-confidence is very different from simple bravado, and it is important to distinguish between the two. Confident people in fact do not need to be arrogant, and this clearly does not mean that there are no confident people who are never also arrogant. This does mean, however, that not all swaggering people are really confident. In fact, often their behavior is simply a way of trying to hide their insecurities. As always, if you like the video, I would kindly ask you to like and share it with your friends if you think they might be interested. Okay, let's get started. 1. They do not put others in a bad light to feel better about themselves. Confident people do not need to make other people's achievements look bad and belittle them in order to feel better about themselves. They know that those who engage in this toxic behavior are nothing more than frustrated people who will never get anywhere in life, unless they start changing their attitude. If a person has succeeded in achieving an important goal, the self-confident person asks, how did he or she do it? What can I learn from this person? These are the right questions to ask, not to feel envy towards that person and try to belittle his achievements. There is no benefit in adopting this behavior. I will give you a simple exercise to do. Next time you happen to go to Facebook and notice a post containing any news about someone who has been successful in any field, go and read the comments, then open the profiles of all those who have left negative or derogatory comments towards this person. I assure you that you will notice consistent similarities between these profiles. Last step, leave a comment below this video and list these similarities. 2. They do not depend on others and do not ask permission to act. Confident people are able to stand on their own 2 feet, which does not mean that they do not appreciate the company of others, but that they know how to stand well on their own and not depend on others. Similarly, self-confident people do not need someone to tell them what to do or when to do it. If they know that something has to be done or they want to do it, they simply act, obviously with common sense. Confident people have a proactive approach to problems, rather than a reactive one. 3. They do not forget to constantly cultivate their knowledge. Much of the lack of confidence that many people have in themselves stems from the fact that they do not have the necessary skills or training to succeed. Confident people are aware of their strengths and weaknesses, and know what to do to improve their chances of success by committing time and energy to improving their skills. Confident people learn throughout their lives, even when they are experts in their field. They know that there is much more to achieve in life and many ways to grow. They do not cling to traditional ways of doing things or old beliefs about what is right or best, but instead they always seek new and better ways of learning. 4. They do not ignore their own judgment. While it is true that self-confident people are open to listening to different points of view on a given topic, and without trying to impose their own ideas on those in front of them, at the same time they do not assume that others have all the answers they are looking for. Instead, they try to make their own judgments based on all the information at their disposal, using it to make their own decisions. Finally, they know how to take responsibility for what will result from their decisions. 5. They do not avoid conflict. Confident people know that conflict is part of life and do not see it as something to be avoided all the time, but rather as something to be managed effectively. This, of course, does not mean constantly and actively trying to get into conflicts with others, as many people seem to love to do, but simply understanding that one cannot always run away from difficult situations, and that very often the best choice is to face conflicts in order to prevent them from being prolonged. 6. They do not settle for mediocrity. Confident people have a vision of what they want and work hard for it. They do not look for a job, but look for the job they want. They do not look for a partner, they look for the partner they really want. Confident people do not allow their fears to stop them from trying, but always push themselves to do more because they know they deserve the best, both in work and in life. 7. They do not dominate conversations and listen actively. A conversation is not a monologue, but an exchange of thoughts, and the confident person understands this. During a conversation they take the time to learn what their interlocutors are passionate about, and even if they are not particularly interested in the topic they try to listen actively, paying attention to what those in front of them have to say. It is surprising how often a person will learn something new or find interesting insights in a conversation from which he had no initial expectations. 8. They do not postpone their commitments. One of the most well-known reasons why people procrastinate is laziness, but this is not the only reason. Often, many people procrastinate because they are afraid of change, failure, and perhaps even success, and consequently they do everything they can to avoid these kinds of situations. Confident people, however, do not postpone their commitments, do not sit around waiting for the right moment or the perfect circumstances because they believe in themselves and expect that their actions will bring them closer to their goals. Needless to say, their favorite quote is "Don't to tomorrow what you can do today." 9. They do not need constant appreciation. Insecure people feel the need to feel constantly appreciated and constantly complimented. They have the need to be told how great they are. Confident people, however, are not like that. Of course, they love a sincere compliment, after all, who doesn't like receiving one, but they don't need constant praise. They know that their success does not depend on the approval of others, and they understand that no matter what they do, there will always be someone out there who will criticize them regardless of what they do or say, and that's okay. Confident people also know that the kind of confidence that depends on the praise from others is not confidence at all, but narcissism. 10. They do not compromise their values. This is, in my opinion, by far the most important point of all because it is where self-confidence and integrity meet. How often do we see both on the web and on television people who would sell their soul to the devil for a handful of likes, or for money? Jackals that in order to keep their following they have no problem manipulating the truth or saying and doing repugnant things. Well, these are people without integrity, the worst of the worst. A self-confident person has dignity and follows values that he would never be willing to compromise in order to benefit from it, be it in popularity or financially. Being self-confident and believing in one's values also means never compromising oneself, even if it means giving up something desirable in the short term. When it comes to self-confidence, one thing is certain: in today's world, the truly confident people always have the upper hand over the doubters and the shy, because they inspire others and make things happen, rather than maintaining a more passive and withdrawn attitude. Now tell me, what do you think? Which of these 10 behaviors do you think are the most relevant in defining a confident person? If you like, let me know by leaving a comment below the video. If you enjoyed this video, I recommend you check out the video 9 signs that you have a strong personality, which you can find on this channel. Be sure to subscribe and activate the notification bell if you haven't already done so you don't miss future videos. Have a great day and see you next time.